Greetings, in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. My name is Adabehu. And who, you may ask, is Adabehu? Who is Adabehu? Let me tell you a story. You see, I am an innkeeper in a little town called Bethlehem. As you can see, it is a very profitable business. I remember one year in particular. It was the year that Caesar Augustus sent out a decree that all the known world should take part in a census and be taxed. Now, being the smart businessman that I am, what did I do? I raised my prices. You see, people from all over the land were traveling great distances to be taxed, and they would need a place to stay. If Caesar gets his share, so do I. Now, late one night, there came a knock at the door. Now keep in mind, business is so good, I can pick and choose to whom I rent the room. At what price? To this man, 50 rubles. To this man, 100 rubles. Because he can afford it. I know by looking at their dress. This man was a carpenter. The calluses on his hands, his raggedy clothes gave him away, and he asked for a room. I'm laughing at the man. He can't afford my prices. For him, there was no room in the inn. But then I saw his wife. She was just barely more than a girl herself, and she was with child. And when I say she was with child, I mean she was with child. It looked as if she may give birth at any moment. Now, yes, I'm a shrewd businessman, but I'm not without compassion. So where can they stay? My sheep stalls, my mangers. Yes, they can stay in the manger for a price. Later that night, I was awakened by a child crying. Now, it wasn't the normal cry of a child, a piercing, irritating sound that most parents are accustomed to. This child's cry was like laughter. Drifting off to sleep again, I heard yet another commotion in the manger. I'm trying to sleep. Looking out the window, what do I see but shepherds lying prostrate on the ground before this child, singing praises to God. It's midnight. I'm trying to sleep. I was about to go stop them when something stopped me. I eventually got to sleep, and the next day, those same shepherds were spreading this crazy rumor that that child, born to a carpenter, was the Messiah. The great political figurehead we're waiting for, a king, a mighty warrior, born to a carpenter in my stable. Impossible. Oh, by the way, the child's name is Jesus. I heard nothing of this Jesus for another 2 years. It was 2 years later that some wise men came from the east, seeking the Messiah. They had seen his star in the heavens and came to worship him. Now, coming to our region, could this be the same child in my manger? Of course not. How silly. But whomever this child was, he had Herod so scared that he ordered the murder of every male Jewish child 2 years and under. A very sad time. It reminds me somewhat of your abortion today. I've never understood the taking of innocent life or those who can know it. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I strayed from my story. Jesus of Nazareth. Yes. I heard nothing else of the Messiah for about 30-some-odd years. Not a peep. And then one day, going to the temple to make my sacrifice, I see this man tearing things down, running through the temple, driving people out, walking up to the major stations, screaming at the top of his voice, "Do not desecrate my Father's house!" The passion of the man, his love for God, such that I had never seen before in my life. Who is this man? Speaking to my neighbor, he says, "Why, that's Joseph. That's Jesus, son of Joseph, son of David." Joseph. That was the man who registered that night. That was the same boy born in my manger. I must investigate this man. And an odd man indeed. Many rumors flying about him. You would see him teaching in the temple, astounding the Pharisees and the Sadducees with his knowledge and his authority. And yet, he was to be seen in the streets with beggars, prostitutes, tax collectors, and, if you can believe this, Gentiles. The man walked amongst the Gentiles. And the miracles, turning water to wine, feeding 5,000 people with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. I mean, come on. Once, I even heard he raised a dead girl back to life. These things just do not happen. I'm sorry. But as I said, the rumors flew. The second time I saw him for myself was in the state capitol. You see, I had heard that he'd been arrested. This I wished to see for myself. Pushing my way through the crowd, I saw a sight which I will never, ever forget. You see, Roman soldiers are not known for their congeniality. They're not very nice people. They had a cat of 9 tails. For those of you in the West who don't know what this is a rope, something like this, about 8 feet in length. The difference is, the cat of 9 tails, it gets its name from the 9 leather strips at the end, fingering out. In these leather strips are mixed bits of bone, metal, and glass. The effect being that when you're struck with it, it literally rips the flesh from your body. Repeatedly, they did this to him. They would mock him. They would spit upon him. They would beat him. And then they would throw a scarlet robe over his back. Now, Adabehu, you ask, was this a sign of mercy to ease the man's pain? No. They would bow before him in mock worship, giving the robe just enough time to dry the open wounds and the blood on his back. And then they would rip it off of him, reopening the wounds and repeating the process all over again. By the time they were finished, you could not tell he was a man. And yet not once, this entire ordeal, did I see him curse them, try to defend himself. No, not once. He just stood there and took it. Pilate, fearing a political revolt, asked the people several times, "What shall I do with the man? I find no fault with him." Each time, the reply, "Crucify! Crucify! Crucify him!" And that they did. They stripped him naked and hung him bleeding from a cross on a hill called Golgotha. Now again, for those of you in the West who do not understand crucifixion, let me explain it to you. Crucifixion is not an easy death by any means. You see, they take a man and they tie him No, wait, that's not right. The crucifixion of Jesus was no ordinary crucifixion. Instead of tying him to a cross, they took 9-inch iron spikes, about 1 inch in diameter, and drove them through his arms and his feet. Once upon the cross, he hung like so. The effect being that his chest caved in upon itself. You see, when you die from crucifixion, you die by asphyxiation. You can't breathe. The stronger you are, the longer you live. Each time, tearing his own body, ripping on the nails. The bare wounds of his back, scraping the splinters in the bark of that tree. Crucifixion left to its own devices can take up to 3 days. Mercifully, his did not. And again, through the entire process, not once did he try to defend himself, resist, or curse his persecutors. He just took it. Who is this man? What is it about him? As a matter of fact, when he hung on that cross, before he died, he said these words, "Father, forgive them. They know not what they do." Now I ask you, could you do that? Could you take that kind of a beating, that kind of abuse, and not show any anger, no aggression, just walk and dying off? Who is this man? When he died on that cross, I knew this was the Son of God. It had to be. My spirit bore witness with the fact. But the facts themselves, if this is the Son of God, why is he dead? Could he not tear himself down from that tree? I did not understand. For 3 days and 3 nights, I could not sleep nor eat. I was so confused. I just had no clue what to do. But then on the 3rd day, there was a rumor. He's alive. He's been seen walking the streets. The same man, the same scars from the nails. He's walking with his disciples. He's talking. This cannot be. With my own eyes, I saw him die on the tree. It cannot be. For 30 days, these rumors circulated. On the 2nd week, I saw him with my own eyes. I saw this man walking and talking. He was alive. He is alive. And he's still alive today. My name is Adabehu. I am an innkeeper. I am also the first man who has ever, in the history of mankind, given a chance to minister to our Lord. And I failed. But Adabehu, you say, you gave him shelter. Yes, I did. In my sheep stall, with the animals, and the hay, and the dung. I did not give him my best. You see, I had my own needs. Not my needs, my desires, my own interests ahead of him. You see, for him, there was no room in the inn. For him, there was no room in my heart. And tonight, I must ask each and every one of you, is there room in your inn? Whose needs do you give priority? I missed my chance. Don't miss yours.
That's why we're here. I trust that if Christ has not found occupancy in your room, of your heart, before this evening's over, that he will. You can receive him as your Lord and Savior tonight. I'm going to ask the ushers to prepare this evening. We're going to take our Sunday night tithes and offerings while our children get ready to minister their play to us tonight. And so, men, will you come?